Good afternoon, guys. Apologize for the delay in videos here lately. Kind of tied up with some personal things as well as work as usual, but more so on the personal stuff. Barring any issues, I'm not going to say too much on video. Not at liberty to discuss it really at this point, but again, barring any issues, things are looking pretty good so far. It's going to get a lot better, you know, should things work out as far as videos go and things like that, so I'm looking forward to it. Alright, so today I figured I had a request to go over, you know, some knives, and in particular ones that I dislike and why. I believe it was Troll Forge, might be his YouTube name. So I'm not going to be able to do that video really, because I've since gotten rid of any knives that I don't like. But I figured it's been quite a while since I did my favorite knife video, so kind of update you guys today on where I stand now, some of the knives I'm fond of, what I carry generally all the time. They mix and match with different kits that I carry, but I'll show you all the knives that I carry to date and give you a little explanation why. So stay with me. Let me take some of the stuff off and I'll get right to it. So again, started raining last night. It hasn't stopped yet. It's a little afternoon time, but again I figured I'd run through some of the knives that I typically carry and that I'm pretty fond of. So first one's a Swiss Army knife. Everybody knows what that is. Pretty basic stuff. It's got quite a bit of tools on it. This one does have an awl. I mean, it's just loaded down with tools. It's pretty much an old school multi-tool to some extent. I don't carry a multi-tool on my body. I haven't for quite a while. I do keep one in each of my packs, and it's really just for the pliers. But I'll throw this in a pocket, and like I said, I carry it all the time. Next up, another pocket knife. It's the Buck 110. Thing's been around for eons, and they're pretty good. Razor sharp. I skinned out a lot of my first deer I've ever shot with one of these things, as well as cleaning fish and stuff like that. So again, it's been around a long time and it works. So one or the other typically in one of my pockets, if not both. One in a haversack, one in a pocket. In line is, you know, the classic fillet knife. This one could use a bit of cleaning. Doesn't look like I cleaned it last time I put it away. Couple scales on there. But I talked about this knife in a past video. I can't remember which one it was, but growing up, you know, knee high to a grasshopper. 8 of my uncles were all hunters. In turn, some of their kids, my cousins, were all hunters, trappers. And this was the only knife that I ever seen strapped to their hip faithfully. No matter what they were doing, fishing, hunting, trapping, this was the knife of their choice. And it's a task-specific knife. You're not going to beat this for filleting fish with any other knife. You know, it's just the way it is. Can you get by? Of course you can. But this was made for that. And like I said, my uncles and cousins use this, you know, from skinning deer and you name it. So it's a good knife. I'm pretty fond of it. That's why I carry it. I'll generally carry that when I'm doing a lot of fishing, not so much on the hunting and trapping, but again, fond of that knife. The next 2 knives from my buddy Joe in New York. I've showed these again in past videos. This one, they're both handmade, custom made by him, to include the leather sheaths. He does a phenomenal job. Again, I've talked about this in past videos. This is his if all else fails knife. Got some bone, woodwork, and some leather in the handle. Just a gorgeous knife. And not only does it look nice, I used this to skin the beavers last year in my trap line. And it's far superior than any knife I had up there for doing that particular job. So really, really good skinning knives, for sure. They are stainless steel, so, you know, in the survival / bushcraft world, or whatever you want to call that, you know, it's not the typical high carbon steel or O1 tool steel or anything like that. But again, task specific. The next knife is pretty much a companion to that one. almost identical in blade profile and stuff. This is a Skinner for sure. I think he calls it a Skinner. I can't quite remember. Another gorgeous knife. Again, stainless steel. I haven't used this one yet. I just recently got it from him. But you'll see more of this probably on the trap line this year. Skin and furs and such. Again, task specific. So, all these blades we've discussed so far are all stainless steel. Moving on to the survival and bushcraft side, carbon steel. This knife and the next three, you'll notice a pattern here. Obviously, classic butcher knife. This is a 18th century period, you know, prototype or copy of. They did a good job on this. I picked this up, excuse me, at from Jas Townsend. He's got a lot of cool stuff on his website. But curly maple handles. It's got an old rustic look to it. Very, very fond of this knife. It was only $34. So you'll be seeing a lot more of this for sure. Very fond of that knife. Very fond of it. Next one I've been carrying for quite a while lately. Another butcher type knife. This is the BHK Muck. Like I said, been carrying it for a while. Pretty fond of this knife. And all the knives you see here pretty much are task specific. And I'll get to that here in a little bit. But again, just a classic butcher style knife. This is, you know, in the spirit of Nesmith or George Washington Sears is where they come up with this. You know, in cahoots with Dave at the Pathfinder School. Excellent job on the knife, as always, from Blind Horse. Skipping this one for a second, you guys are actually getting a sneak peek. This is a brand new knife. I'll get to that in a second. So then we got the Woodsman Trapper. All you guys are probably familiar with. This is a dive and sparrow knife. And this one, not so much task specific. More of a one tool option. You know, I kind of fell into the same trap as everybody else, thinking, you know, if you lost everything, you only had one knife, you want something that can do pretty much everything for you. This knife definitely lives up to that. I've had no issues with it. You know, I've carved, you know, small fish hooks, anywhere from that, feather sticks, even when it was dull, does a phenomenal job. All the way up to batoning. I haven't really chopped with it because it's not meant to do that. But batoning, I've carved a bush pipe with this thing, so it does everything, you know, but not perfectly. So, as you can see from the other knives that I've shown you, they're all task specific. And as of late, I'm leaning more towards that style. Days of the old, you know, 1800s all along the frontier, right on through into the Nesmith days and stuff like that. A lot of folks would have some sort of folding knife in their pocket or in their possibles bag, if you will, for all their carving needs. And then typically, at least for a couple hundred years or so, probably one of the most common knives was the butcher knife, as well as, you know, the classic roach belly French trade knife. But the butcher knife, in my opinion, was probably the most common. So I'm leaning more towards that style in the way I'm doing things here lately and moving forward. I've always kind of believed that everything is task specific, and again, I kind of fell into that trap and moving, you know, to the one tool option type deal. And no complaints on the Woodsman Trapper whatsoever, but I'm more traditional. I like a traditional look, if you guys haven't noticed that. And I'm moving more towards, you know, 18th century style to a degree, but I'm more, you know, 21st century long hunter mentality behind it all. So, sneak peek for you guys. If you don't follow me on Facebook, you know, I'm not going to harp on you to do that, but if you're looking for more information, I post a lot more stuff on Facebook just because I can't make a video on every little thing I want to talk about. So I don't want to bore you guys here on YouTube, but I've already posted this on Facebook to the Woodsman School page. You know, if you guys don't follow me there, if you wouldn't mind, you know, come on over. Go ahead and like the Woodsman School page. Would love to have you. And you get a lot more information there than I typically put out here on YouTube. Here it is. This is the official, and I guess this is a introduction, sneak peek to you guys, the official Woodsman School knife. I've had some questions, you know, from a couple buddies. Hey, you know, what happened to the Woodsman Trapper? And I thought that was your school knife, and it never was. This knife is the Woodsman Trapper. That's what it is. That's what it's always been, and ain't taking nothing away from it. I've been meaning to come out with an official school knife. I tried to work with a couple other different people. It hasn't worked out, but I finally talked to someone that's willing to do it for me. It's working out, and these knives will be in production here shortly and probably available for purchase by the holidays. So here it is. Again, classic butcher style knife, also in the spirit of Nesmith. This is the classic Nesmith design. This knife is made by Primal Edge, a good friend of mine, Joe Honeycutt. I've had him as a student a couple times in a couple different classes. Great guy. He's got a great family, so he's taken on making the Woodsman School knives for me. This is the prototype, so I'll be trying this thing out extensively here in the next couple weeks and months to come. Curly maple handles. I'm going to do a separate video on this, give you guys the whole lowdown, the whole rundown, dimensions, materials, and all that good stuff. And as you can see, butcher style knife, very task specific. And again, we'll get into it on the other video about all the specs of this knife, but again, I'm leaning more towards, you know, the 18th century, 21st century long hunter mentality of things, and I prefer a task specific knife. Not that this couldn't be used as a one tool option, because it probably could in the right hands. It's very thick, very capable of doing anything and everything that my one tool option can do, but I'm not going to use it for that. You're not going to see me chopping with this knife. You're not going to see me carving bow drill sets with this knife. You're not going to see me batoning it. I'll probably do a little bit of that just to show you guys that it can do that, but it's not going to do that, you know, on a regular basis by any means. So again, classic butcher knife type design. Very, very fond of it. Joe did an awesome job on this knife. Again, curly maple handles, and I'm pretty sure it's 01 tool steel. And he makes a nice custom leather sheath to go with that, with the ferro rod loop. I mean, you can see the difference here between the Woodsman School one and the BHK Muck. Quite a big difference there. Alright guys, so there it was. Quick rundown on the knives that I'm fond of. I think it was pretty quick. We'll see when I go to edit this. Sometimes I get to rambling. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much, but sneak peek at the new Woodsman School knife. Very, very fond of this knife. Can't wait to get out more with it in the upcoming hunting and trapping season for sure. And the Mountain Man series that I'll be kicking off here real shortly. So again, appreciate you joining me for this one. Thank you for all your views, all your comments, all your support as always, and we'll see you soon with another video. Take care.